Hello, it's Martine here. I'm going to show you how to log in to Google Classroom from your work computer or a computer that you're using at home, or maybe you've brought your own laptop into a session. Either way, this is how you will log in from an internet browser. The first thing to mention is that you should, if possible, use Google Chrome as your internet browser, and this will make things work far better. So what you need to do is open up a new internet browser window and type in cfe.rmunify.com. cfe.rmunify.com, and this will take you to the login screen. It looks like this. You will have been given your college email address from your tutor, and so that's what you need to use to log in here. I'm going to log in with a demo account. So you see mine is demostudent@gcfe.net. Yours will have 4 digits, your first name and the first initial of your surname. Always make sure you include the @gcfe.net at the end for this login here, and then include your password. Now, if you're logging in for the first time, you might have to agree to some statements that pop up, but you'll only have to do it once, so it's a couple of tick boxes. But I've logged in before, that's why that was fairly straightforward for me. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. This should be the screen that you come to, RM Unify. It's our universal login area, and there are some important things to show you here. There are lots of tabs. I suspect you're not going to need to access many of these tabs. The main two will be Google Classroom and possibly Google Drive. Google Drive is the filing cabinet, the sort of back end where anything you work on in Google Classroom gets stored in Google Drive. But ideally, you will always access things through Google Classroom. There's really no need to go into Google Drive unless you have a specific reason. So what you'll do is you'll log in at RM Unify and you'll click on Google Classroom. When you join the classroom for the first time, what you'll see when you go to Google Classroom, so after you've clicked here and you've arrived here, you'll see the Google Classroom just here, and it'll say decline or join. You only have to join once. When you access it again, your classroom will just be sitting here, so you'll just click on it to get to it. But because this is the first time, I'm going to click join. And it'll just take a moment and I will join this test classroom. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit more. So this is a brand new test classroom. Yours might look a little bit different, but pretty much will have the same feel to it. So I'm going to take you around the classroom and point a few things out to you. First, up here, you can navigate between Stream, Classwork, and People. Working backwards, at the moment, People, there aren't any classmates in here for you, but actually once your classmates have joined, you'll be able to see their names here. You can see I'm your teacher, that's my information there. Classwork is where all of your resources for your class will live, as well as any assignments, tasks, that sort of thing. If we go to the stream is where announcements are made. I highly recommend you put the Google Classroom app on your mobile device, because when I post something in the stream here, or if I return an assignment to you or something like that, you will get a notification. So you can see that I've already posted something here, and when you go into your own classroom, you'll probably find I've done the same. And what I'd like you to do as just an orientation activity is to make a comment underneath the question that I've posted. So here I've put, welcome to your online classroom. Please reply to the following question as a comment on this post. What is your favourite biscuit? And if you do not like biscuits, your favourite soup. What is my favourite biscuit? I'm going to say I like... don't know how to spell it. So type your response there, and then you just click the post button here. And you can see now that Demo Student has replied to the question here. What you can also do, although I don't want you to do this as a practice, but just to show you, you can start your own announcement as well. So the way I created this one here is to do an announcement at the top. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm just asking you to add a class comment, and to point out this is a class comment so everybody can see it. It's not a private comment. So I'd like you to do that first of all. While we're in this stream, the other thing I want to point out to you is the Meet link. So just say, for whatever reason, I wanted to have an online meeting with you and we want to do a video call. All you'd need to do is go into your Google Classroom and click on this link, and that would open up a meeting room for us to have a video call in. So that might be for a group tutorial or a one-to-one or something like that. So it's worth knowing that that is there. So that's the stream. If I just move on to Classwork now, I've only posted an induction section here, but normally there would be unit sections down below. In the induction section, typically I would share key dates in the format of a scheme of work. So that will explain when assessments are taking place, when lessons are, what we're going to be covering, where we're going to be, that sort of thing. The appeals procedure would also be posted in this section. It's very important that you read through the appeals procedure to understand what to do if you get an assignment mark or the result of an assessment and you're not happy and you want to appeal it. Please do take some time to read the appeals procedure. And if anything is unclear, speak to your tutor. There's a section here called induction presentation, so at some point you would have been given an induction presentation. All of that information can be located in this section. You just click and open it. And then finally down here there is a section called practice assignment, and that's what I'm going to walk through with you now. So to open up your practice assignment, just click here. And I would always recommend, rather than accessing the documents here, that you view the assignment. This is going to open everything up so you can see everything you need on one screen. So click View Assignment, and I'll just walk you round this layout. You can see the title of the assignment here, and I've put the assignment brief just here. And when I say a brief, I mean an explanation of what is expected of you for your assignment. It is essentially the set of questions you need to answer. It's also going to include any assessment criteria you need to meet in order to pass your assignment. So if I just open that up, you can see it opens in a separate tab, so you can navigate between tabs quite easily. Now clearly this is a very, very simple brief, not the sort of level of complexity you'll have for your actual course, but it's a brief, it's a question. So you can keep that open in one tab if you'd like to. If you want to make a comment on the assignment that the whole class can see, you can do so here. So it makes it very clear that it's a class comment as opposed to a private comment. If you want to make a private comment that only I can see as your tutor, you would do that here. That's a private comment. Okay, so the most important part of this area is the top right hand section here called Your Work. And what you've got here is a template to fill out for your assignment. Now the way this is set up, if you wanted to include some additional documents, you can do so here. You can upload anything extra you need to. Technically I don't need to give you a template, you could just start your assignment in a Google Doc here, but to make things easier you've got a template. And I've just clicked it to open it. Don't click that cross, that is not going to help you to click that cross. I'll just do that once more. I will click on where it says demo student, that will actually say your name. I would always click on the little square just here and it opens it very quickly in a new tab. So this is your template. Remember you've got your brief here that explains what you've got to do in your assignment, and then this is the template which will have your name just up here. So there's a heading. Don't change this. I've given you headings and subheadings to help you. I've laid out your assignment effectively. The only thing you need to change is anything that's in square brackets. So square brackets indicate that you need to delete and type over the top. Now what I'd actually recommend that you do, because this is a prompt, it's reminding you what to do, I would suggest that you type underneath, and just before you're ready to hand in your work, you then delete the prompt. So I'll do that again. You would go like this, type there. Obviously I'm not typing anything properly, I'm just putting X's. And we'll go delete and delete. And that is how your assignment would look before you hand it in. So I'm going to pause the video now and just put some actual text instead of X's. As you can see, there's some text here now. There is a deliberate spelling mistake here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to hand this work in, and then I'm going to switch to the teacher view to show you what I do when I review your work. So there's a couple of things to mention here. Just to remind you, as I said, don't delete the headings or the subheadings. When you do a real assignment, you'll probably find that there'll be some numbers in brackets after the subheadings. Again, don't delete them. The other thing to mention, obviously this is a practice assignment, so there's no bibliography as such, but if you were doing some additional reading for your assignment, which I encourage you to do so, it's an expectation of the course, you would add a bibliography down here where I've typed bibliography. There are various ways to do this, and we can talk about it outside of this video, but just to show you, Google Docs now has a built-in citations feature. So it gives you some options here. I suggest you use APA, that is the nearest to what we'd expect to see as your citation style. So you can use that if you'd like to. Alternatively, you can use something like Cite This For Me. There are lots of options outside of Google Docs that you can use, so do remember to do that. The other thing to show you is that we automatically include an add-on to Google Docs called Turnitin Draft Coach, and this is to enable you to double check your work before you hand it in to make sure you've not accidentally plagiarized anything. And the way you would do that is to just access the add-on. If you're using it for the first time, you just need to click I agree and then continue to draft coach. You then go through the various prompts in order just to make sure that you haven't accidentally plagiarized anything. So I'll close that down. Additional help can be provided in terms of using the citations tool as well as draft coach. So you've done your work, you think it's pretty much ready to hand in. I would encourage you to proofread your work carefully, to use your mentor for this as well. That's an important part of the mentor role, and you're ready to hand in. For this course, you get your first hand in ungraded. So what that really means is you get formative feedback on your first submission. You should always make sure it's the best possible work you can do, but you do just hand in for feedback. So we're going to do that now. You've proofread this, you're very happy, you're ready to hand in. So what you do is you go at the top here and you click Turn In. You see another tab has opened up. And then it takes you back to the practice assignment page and you click Hand In and Hand In. So there's a couple of clicks there. Do feel free to rewind the video to watch that again. If you suddenly realise that you shouldn't have handed in and you needed to change something, you can unsubmit here. But I would only ever encourage you to use that really soon after you've submitted, because if I've started marking, then you won't be able to unsubmit. And that's how you turn in or hand in your first draft. I'm now going to switch to Teacher View to show you what I do. I'm now in the teacher view of the test classroom, and you can tell that because I can see Demo Student has made a comment here. I've also got an extra tab at the top here. So I'm going to go to Classwork, and I can see that Demo Student has turned in their work. So I'm going to have a quick look at that student's assignment. If I just hop back to that page, you can see the private comment there. I can also see it here. I can reply like so. So my marking process is fairly straightforward. I would read what you have written and I would compare it to assessment criteria to see how close you were to meeting that criteria. This is how I would go about giving you some comments. I would select some work or a section of some work and make a comment here. So that comment is just positive reinforcement. It doesn't require any action. Down here though is going to be an action requirement. So I'll just put, please check spelling. And I would continue to go through your work and make formative feedback comments along these lines. And when I am ready, I would return the work to you like this. I'll also likely leave you a private comment giving you a hand-in date. So do check the private comments. Obviously, I'd give you an actual date rather than just typing hand in date. And that is how I would mark and return your work to you. I'm now going to switch to the student view to show you what it looks like for you. I'm back in the student view now, so if I pop over to Classwork, imagine that I've got a notification on my phone that my work has been returned, so I can open up practice assignment. You can see the work has been returned here. I'll view the assignment. I can see there's been some comments here as well. The resubmit button is enabled, which means that I've got some work to do and then I've got my first formal submission to resubmit. So just to remind you, that first submission is for formative feedback. You don't get a grade, but this next submission is effectively your first formal submission that will have a grade. The grade will either be pass or refer. Refer means you haven't met all the criteria. Pass means you have met all the criteria. If you get a refer, you have one more opportunity to submit and pass. So I'm going to open up the work that I did. Remember, this is the brief. You're not looking here, you're looking up here. Don't click the cross. On the off chance that you can't see any comments on the right hand side, it might be that you are too zoomed in to see them. So I recommend you just come up here and click fit, and that way you will see the comments. So this is how I'd like you to process the comments. You have a little look. I've clicked this yellow bit here and this comment has popped in, so I know these two are linked. I would just like you to reply with OK or something similar if there is no action to carry out. Just to point out, if you type OK, you still have to click reply. You must see this bit pop up to know that you've actually replied correctly. What I don't want you to do is click the tick button here, because if you click that, the comment disappears behind the scenes. I want you to reply with OK. This comment here actually requires a change, so I'm going to make that change. It's now spelt correctly. I'm going to click here, put OK because I've done it, and reply. Now I've been through all of the feedback, I know that the work is done and I'm ready for my first official hand in or turn in. So I'm going to go back and do exactly the same thing, turn in, hand in. I don't know why the language is different. And that's it. That is your work turned in, handed in for grading. And it will be returned to you in exactly the same way with confirmation of a grade and some final summative feedback. I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions, please contact me.